Good afternoon to you all. Today we will study part 3 of CNS, topic being antidepressant drugs. Before starting details about antidepressant drugs, it is essential to have some basic knowledge about depression, which is a disorder of mood, not of behavior as in psychosis, and also well-known differentiating knowledge among major mental disorders, namely neurosis, psychosis, and affective disorders. So we will start in brief about different types of mental disorders and thereafter discussion of antidepressants. So the first topic today we are going to discuss is types of mental disorders based on clinical features. There are three major types, namely neurosis, psychosis, and affective disorders. Now coming to the neurosis, it is a less serious disorder characterized by patients' intact personality. There is no loss of contact with reality. Patient knows the causative factor for his anxiety, but exhibits emotional disturbances in the form of exaggerated defense or disproportionate anxiety. Types of neurosis: anxiety neurosis, phobic neurosis, obsessive compulsive neurosis, hysterical neurosis, panic disorders, and reactive depression. Coming to the psychosis, it results either due to some organic diseases or due to changes in the neurotransmitter levels of the brain. Here personality of the patient is deranged in contrast to that in neurosis, and he/she loses contact with reality. Clinical features are associated with delusions, illusions, hallucinations of different types like auditory hallucination, visual hallucination, olfactory hallucination, and tactile hallucination. Types: major two types of psychosis: organic psychosis and functional psychosis known as functional schizophrenia. Organic psychosis, example being cerebral infection by rabies, heavy metal poisoning, mercury and lead produced brain injury, and chronic alcohol use. Third part is affective disorders. It is the disorder of mood, types being depression, mania, manic depressive illness. Now coming to the next main topic, depression. Depression is a disease of mood associated with feeling of sadness, loss of interest, self-negligence, anorexia, sleep disturbances, suicidal feelings in severe cases, etc. It is classified as affective disorder. So depression is also known as affective disorders. Depression is broadly divided into two types: unipolar depression, which accounts for 80% of depression, and bipolar depression, also known as manic depressive illness, which accounts for 20% of all depressive patients. Unipolar depression is further subdivided into reactive unipolar depression, which accounts for 60%, and endogenous unipolar depression, which accounts for 20%. Reactive unipolar depression is characterized by disproportionate feeling of sadness, grief, and anxiety. As a consequence of stressful and distressing circumstances in life, it is self-limiting. Endogenous unipolar depression, it is not self-limiting. It results due to genetic causes or due to deranged neurotransmission of norepinephrine, 5-hydroxytryptamine, or both, and possibly of dopamine in certain sites in the brain. Now coming to the next topic, etiopathophysiciology of depression. There are so many factors and causes. First being genetic cause. The family history of the depressive patients confirms that genetic transmission is 48% in homozygotic twins and only 20% in heterozygotic twins. Next point, environmental factors. Some infections, rabies, heavy metal poisoning like mercury, lead, viral infections, carcinoma, abuse of drugs or alcohol, etc. Biochemical factors, there are so many examples. Biochemical theory of depression is either associated with deficiency of neurotransmitters in certain areas of the brain, noradrenaline, serotonin, and dopamine, or associated with downregulation of beta 1, beta 2, alpha 2 adrenoceptors, and also of 5-HT2 receptors. Decreased level of brain-derived neurotropic factor, a nerve growth factor which regulates neuronal plasticity and neurogenesis. Next point, electroconvulsive therapy also causes downregulation of beta 1 and beta 2 receptors, producing depression. Dopaminergic activity is reduced in cases of depression, whereas overactivity is seen in mania. Endocrine factors, hypothyroidism, Cushing syndrome, it is. Neuroendocrine abnormalities in endogenous depression include increased adrenal size, increased cortisol level, and corticotrophin releasing hormone secretion. Failure of dexamethasone suppression test, increased responsiveness of thyroid stimulating hormone level to induce TRH. Decreased growth hormone secretion. There is also loss of neurons of prefrontal cortex and hippocampus. Coming to the some important points related to clinical aspects. Noradrenergic type of depression is associated with psychomotor retardation, decreased libido, and weight loss, whereas 5-hydroxytryptamine type of depression is characterized by agitation, sleep disturbances, increased anxiety, and weight gain. Other clinical features of depression are common to above both types, such as loss of interest or withdrawal from social pleasurable activities, feeling of guilt, etc. Now coming to the main topic, classification of antidepressants. They are as follows. First classification, drugs which block both norepinephrine and 5-hydroxytryptamine reuptake with additional antihistaminic, alpha blocking, and anticholinergic side effects. Examples, tricyclic antidepressants, namely imipramine, clomipramine, amitriptyline, doxepin. Second, selective serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors without antihistaminic, anticholinergic and alpha-1 blocking action. Example being duloxetine, venlafaxine, milnacipran. Third point, drugs mainly blocking norepinephrine reuptake. These drugs are disipramine, nortriptyline, protriptyline. All these belong to tricyclic antidepressants. Meprotilline, amoxapine, reboxetine. These three are newer antidepressants not belonging to tricyclic antidepressant groups. Fourth point, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Examples are sertraline, fluoxetine, paroxetine, citalopram, escitalopram. Now coming to the next fifth point of classification of antidepressant drugs, they are atypical antidepressants. The mode of action of atypical antidepressants is not well understood and it varies from drug to drug belonging to this group. However, they act by inhibiting their reuptake or preventing their degradation, or enhancing or inhibiting postsynaptic receptors with some exception. They all have minimal side effects. First group, example trazodone, it inhibits 5-hydroxytryptamine reuptake, blocks postsynaptic 5-HT2A receptors, and also blocks alpha-1 adrenergic receptors. So the side effect would be hypotension. Second point, mianserin. It blocks presynaptic alpha-2 receptors and thus increases norepinephrine release. Third example of atypical antidepressants is mirtazapine. Its location of action is both noradrenergic neurons as well as serotoninergic neurons. They are presynaptic sites, and main sites on noradrenergic presynaptics are alpha-2 autoreceptors, one, and second being 5-HT heteroreceptors. So there are two different receptors present on the noradrenergic presynaptic sites, alpha-2 autoreceptors and 5-HT heteroreceptors. And on stimulation, they increase norepinephrine release. The serotoninergic presynaptic sites of action of mirtazapine is 5-HT autoreceptors and alpha-2 heteroreceptors, and in the result of mirtazapine is increased 5-HT release. No action on 5-HT2 and 5-HT3 receptors, but mirtazapine also blocks H1 receptors to produce sedation. Side effects being sedation, weight gain, and hepatotoxicity, etc. Next example being bupropion. It inhibits neuronal reuptake of 5-HT, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Side effects being agitation, insomnia, and it also precipitates seizures. So, whenever advised, it should be avoided to take at the time of bed to prevent any disturbance in the sleep. Coming to the next point, antidepressants of natural origin. Sant John's wort containing active ingredient hyperforin and hypericin are monoamine inhibitors, mild MAO inhibitors, and stimulants at GABA receptors. It is a potent enzyme inducer, so it decreases plasma concentration and therapeutic efficacy of warfarin, oral contraceptives, antipsychotics, and HIV reverse transcriptase inhibitors such as zidovudine. Now coming to the seventh group of antidepressant classification, it is MAO inhibitors, monoamine oxidase inhibitors. Non-selective MAO A and MAO B irreversible inhibitors. Example being phenelgine, isocarboxazide, and phenylcypromine. Selective MAO A reversible inhibitor, example being moclobemide. It is given in the dose of 150 mg orally twice daily. MAO B inhibitor, example being selegiline, 5 to 10 mg per day given orally in Parkinson's disease. But in depressive patients, whenever used as antidepressants, it is preferably given as transdermal patch of selegiline. Now coming to this descriptive diagram showing sites of action of some antidepressant drugs. Look here, there are two different types of nerves, noradrenergic neuron and serotoninergic neuron, showing different sites where different antidepressant drugs act. First, look at non-adrenergic neuron. Norepinephrine is released from the storage sites of the non-adrenergic neuron into the synaptic cleft, where it has mainly three fates. Most of the norepinephrine is reuptaken by presynaptic norepinephrine transporters into the presynaptic neuron, and drugs inhibiting this site is imipramine, disipramine, etc. Second fate of norepinephrine is its action on different postsynaptic receptors alpha 2, beta 1 and beta 2. Here in this diagram, postsynaptic alpha 1 receptor has not been shown because they are absent in CNS neurons, rather present in vascular smooth muscles. Third fate of norepinephrine is on alpha 2 presynaptic noradrenergic neuronal sites, and fourth fate of norepinephrine is its action on the presynaptic alpha 2 heteroreceptors of serotoninergic neuron. Serotonin is released from storage vesicles of serotoninergic neurons whenever nerve is stimulated, and then fate of 5-HT in synaptic cleft is on 5-HT2 postsynaptic receptors, and second fate is that it is reuptaken by serotoninergic presynaptic 5-HT transporter. Third fate of 5-HT in synaptic cleft is it acts on the noradrenergic presynaptic 5-HT1 heteroreceptors as well as on 5-HT1 presynaptic autoreceptor of serotoninergic neuron. 5-HT reuptake inhibitors are specific serotonin reuptake inhibitors such as sertraline, fluoxetine, citalopram, etc. Inhibitors of presynaptic alpha 2 heteroreceptors and 5-HT1 autoreceptors of serotoninergic neuron is mirtazapine. It also inhibits noradrenergic presynaptic 5-HT1 heteroreceptors and alpha-2 heteroreceptors. Noradrenergic presynaptic alpha-2 autoreceptor is also inhibited by mianserin. Moclobemide is another antidepressant drug inhibiting myoamine oxidase type A enzyme, so metabolism of NE and 5-HT both are inhibited. That results in respective intraneuronal increase of NE and 5-HT. So whenever nerve is stimulated, NE and 5-HR are released into the synaptic cleft from their respective neurons in increased amounts. So action of NE and 5-HT are increased, relieving the signs and symptoms of depression. Now coming to the side effects of myoinhibitors. Myoinhibitors, whenever given along with tricyclic antidepressant groups of drugs or are whenever given along with any directly acting sympathomimetic drugs, have synergistic action to produce hypertension, arrhythmia and seizures. Second point, myoinhibitors when given with levodopa, it will result in increased DA concentration due to inhibition of dopamine, a precursor of NE. So ultimately increase in hypertension. Third point, due to microsomal enzyme inhibitory effects of myoinhibitors, following side effects toxicity developed when following drugs are given concurrently. Myoinhibitors plus morphine, severe respiratory depression. Myoinhibitors plus sulfonyl urea group of hypoglycemic agents, hypoglycemic coma. Myoinhibitors plus chloroquine, increased toxicity. Now coming to this flow diagram of selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Look here, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors inhibit serotonin transporter activity, due to which increases serotonin levels in the synapse. It stimulates postsynaptic serotonin receptors that enhances transcription of related proteins, and due to this increased production of brain derived neurotropic factors and other proteins occur, and this ultimately have antidepressant effect. Now coming to the next point, therapeutic usage of antidepressant drugs. These are endogenous depression. Usually 3 types of treatment is given: psychotherapy, pharmacotherapy and electroconvulsive therapy. Here we are mainly concerned with pharmacotherapy of depression. So second point is panic attack. Acute, recurrent, brief episodes of anxiety are known as panic attacks. This is panic attack is one of the example of therapeutic usage of antidepressants. Third indication is obsessive compulsive disorders. Obsessive compulsive disorders responds to specific serotonin reuptake inhibitors and clomipramine. Fourth indication is diabetic neuropathy, backache, post-herpetic neuralgia, fibromyalgia. Next indication, irritable bowel syndrome, 6, sleep apnea. Next indication is bulimia nervosa, which responds to specific serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Next indication is premenstrual syndrome, SSRI, for 2 weeks prior to menstruation is usually given, which produce better results. Perimenopausal syndrome is other indication of antidepressant drugs. Smoking withdrawal signs and symptoms are treated by antidepressant drug bupropion along with nicotine dermal patch. Next indication is nocturnal enuresis, and other next indications of antidepressant drugs are migraine, attention deficit hyperactivity disorders, especially in children, urinary stress incontinence, and chronic alcoholism are other indications. Now coming to the two main important points, cheese reactions and serotonin syndrome. We will discuss cheese reaction. What is cheese reaction? Patients on myoinhibitors taking tyramine rich foods like cheese, beers, wines, eggs, buttermilk and fish develop severe hypertension. This is known as cheese reaction. This reaction can be treated with IV phentolamine. Now we will discuss flow diagram of cheese reaction. Look here, whenever a patient on myoinhibitors consume tyramine-rich foods like cheese, fish, meat, beer, wine, yeast, then tyramine is observed in the gut wall. Myoinhibitors inhibit myo in the gut as well as in the liver. Breakdown of tyramine does not occur due to inhibition of myo in the gut lining epithelium. This will result in tyramine reaches the liver through portal circulation. In the liver, also tyramine escapes breakdown due to inhibition of myo. Tyramine in systemic circulations, then tyramine displaces large quantities of norepinephrine from sympathetic nerve endings. This will ultimately result in very high increase of BP, leading to hypertensive crisis and cerebrovascular accident. This is called cheese reaction. Now coming to the next important point, that is serotonin syndrome. What is serotonin syndrome? When a patient takes a SSRI and a myoinhibitor or any serotoninergic activity potentiating drugs concurrently, then there is significant increase in serotonin levels in the synapses. This causes hyperthermia, restlessness, sweating, muscle rigidity, aggressive behavior, tremors, seizures, and coma. This is called serotonin syndrome. Drugs such as amphetamine, cocaine, tryptophan, buspirone, sumatriptan produce. Thank you to you all.